This week in news surrounding Israel, Israel prepares for Iranian attack. So stay tuned, friends, for all the details. Well, shalom, everyone. Happy New Year, and welcome once again to this week's newscast. I'm Robert Gottslig, your host. And Iran, well, in the midst of a new year, continues to threaten Israel with a retaliatory strike, possibly ahead of Trump's inauguration on January 20th. World Israel News reported that the Israeli military has been placed on high alert and is preparing to respond to possible extreme steps by Iran against the Jewish state in the immediate future, according to a report by the Israeli media outlet Walla. According to the report, which cited Israeli defense officials, IDF Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Herzi Halevi has instructed top brass to draft plans to respond to various possible Iranian attacks on Israel amid fears Tehran may attempt to carry out a major assault in a matter of days ahead of President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration on January 20th. The IDF is reportedly concerned that given Iran's increasingly tenuous position, including a major economic downturn, energy shortages, popular dissent, and the prospect of a fresh wave of sanctions from the incoming Trump administration, Tehran may act out of desperation to shore up the positions of its proxies across the Middle East. World Israel News further went to remind us that Iran and its allies suffered devastating losses across the region during 2024, including not only the decimation of Hamas forces in the Gaza Strip, but also the destruction of much of Hezbollah's leadership and the dismantling of the organization's infrastructure in southern Lebanon, severe damage to Iran's air defense network, and the ouster of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. Then the Tehran Times on December 18th, they reported this, that speaking at a Wednesday ceremony in Tehran, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps Deputy Commander Brigadier General Ali Fadavi said people have been questioning military officials about whether Operation True Promise 3 will be carried out. People must take into account that since its establishment, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps has fulfilled all its promises. Operation True Promise 3 will be carried out at the right time, he declared. Of course, friends, True Promise 1 was carried out by Iran last April when they launched some 300 ballistic missiles and drones into Israel. And then True Promise 2 took place in October when Iran launched another 200 ballistic missiles into Israel. Unheard of in anything the world has ever experienced. And now Iran threatens Israel once again with even a more extreme response. Amir Safarte, on his informative Telegram channel, which I'd highly recommend you to subscribe to, he posted this video, as you can see here, of Revolutionary Guard's spokesman. This is what he is saying in the video. He says that previous attacks on Israel were only a small part of our capabilities. The Zionist enemy knows that its skies are open and defenseless against us. We have never stopped missile production. The production rate is increasing every day. We will soon unveil new and advanced missiles and drones, and we will also unveil missile cities across Iran. Well, what do we make out of all this? Well, students of God's Word know that Iran will continue in its demonic plans to attack Israel until the God of Israel deals with them and destroys them, as we read in Ezekiel 38 and 9. Truth is, friends, it is the Iranian regime whose days are numbered, and they ought to tremble, for the God of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. No, he is taking note, and judgment is coming soon one day. But until then, will Iran strike Israel before Trump is inaugurated on January 20th? Because if they wait, well, we know that Trump will rule with an iron fist, giving Israel the full backing of the U.S., and Iran knows that. And they're desperate. And so will they act on that? Well, no one knows but God. And so we should be praying for the peace of Jerusalem. Friends, that's a command. It's not an option. We should be praying for Israel's leaders to be wise to the schemes of those who wish them dead, praying for a return of the hostages in Gaza, praying for peace to return to the region. Look, Israel has been fighting for its very life, especially since October 7th. And we should at least be interceding for them in prayer to the God of this universe, the only true God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. As Christians, our support for Israel and the Jewish people should be unwavering, as we owe the Jewish people much, because it is through them that we have our Bibles. It is through the Jewish people that we have Messiah Jesus. Jesus was Jewish. And because of him, we have been grafted in to Israel's spiritual blessings of the new covenant that we read about in Jeremiah chapter 31. You see, this is what the early church believed. Let me read to you what their response was to the Jewish people some almost 2,000 years ago. Let me read that for you. Romans chapter 15, verses 26 and 7. This is what we read. Paul says, "For it pleased those from Macedonia and Achaia to make a certain contribution for the poor among the saints who are in Jerusalem." Look at verse 27. "It pleased them indeed, for they are debtors." Yes, debtors to the Jewish people, Paul says. He says, "For if the Gentiles have been partakers of their spiritual things, their duty is also to minister to them in material things." And friends, we need to, at the very least, be lifting up Israel in prayer. Yes, we need to stand with them. We need to support them. We need to love them. The things that have happened in the Middle East have carried on into our borders here in the Western world, as Israel has had to deal with all these Palestinian demonstrations demonizing Israel. Yes, even in my own country, Canada, we continue to see that taking place here. Anti-Semitism has spiked around the world. And so we need to, as Christians, we need to be lifting Israel up in prayer. Again, they have been fighting for their very lives and been fighting on 8 fronts, friends, for their survival. And so let's let them know that they are not alone in this battle. For Iran, they ought to tremble. The regime is on a collision course with the God of this universe, and they will lose. And not only them, but all those who come against God's chosen people in the past have vanished, in the present are going to vanish, and in the future are going to vanish. Why? Because God has made promises to Israel. God has made promises to the Jewish people, and they will be fulfilled with 100% accuracy. The truth is that one day, when Messiah returns, the preeminence will shift from the Gentiles to the Jewish people, and no longer will the Jewish people be a doormat for the Gentiles to walk all over. I'm looking forward to that day, and I hope you are too. So let's continue to lift up Israel in prayer. Tough times are still ahead for Israel here, and we need to be in prayer for them. And friends, I just want to wish you a happy new year. And in the midst of all the things that are happening in our world today, again, don't let that trouble you. God is still on the throne. He still has this world in control. Nothing goes past him without him knowing it. He knows the schemes of everything that's being done in secret behind closed doors. He knows everything. He knows the heart of everybody. He is still on the throne. He will still look after his chosen people. Our job is to be praying for them, loving and supporting them. And with that, and until next time, thanks for joining us on another episode of In News Surrounding Israel. God bless.